Huh?
Yep, it's going.
Everything good? You ready to go?
Good.
So we'll be talking about the mission. We'll speak on the mission and vision, marketing, technology, operations, finances, and those aforementioned columns. We'll give some suggestions on some things that you could do to optimize your performance as a company, and hopefully get you to your overall goal. Not only get you to your overall goal of where you want to be, but get beyond that goal and grow to heights that you never thought you could grow to. The mission, Butterfly Bakery strives to make every pastry a piece of exquisite edible artwork that creates an unforgettable experience for every one of our customers. We felt that if a customer saw this on your website, they'll think these guys are going to put the best effort into making this pastry kind of set off my event. You know, at a wedding especially, that's the cornerstone of American culture, is cutting no cake at a wedding. And we all know, we've been to weddings, if the cake was bad, everybody talked about it. So we think that this mission exemplifies not only you guys and your work ethic, but will exemplify that to your customers as well. The vision, Butterfly Bakery strives to be the leading provider of unique pastries in the Midwest. Based on conversations with you guys and your long-term goals, we thought this kind of put everything into one sentence. That essentially we want Butterfly Bakery to be the name, not only in the state of Nebraska, but in this entire region. And we feel that you have the tools to get there. Here we go. Core values, reputation. Customers and partners know that Butterfly Bakery will always deliver. You know, in the service industry, reputation is huge. You got to have trust with the people you go with. Artistry. Bringing imagination and creativity to every pastry. You guys have outstanding designers who work, like some of the cake designs we saw were outstanding. That's something that sets you apart. It's also a competitive advantage that you have over a lot of companies as well. Consistency, the best taste, service, and experience for customers. If I want to be a return customer, I'm gonna come back. I need that product to be the same, if not better. And we feel that you guys have that and should maintain that as you go forward. Quality, the highest standards of detail in every bite. More of the same. Making a product that's not only is aesthetically pleasing, but tastes great too. And integrity. Things may go wrong, but Butterfly Bakery will always make it right. Customer service is huge, especially in the service industry, and that can make or break you. If customers are seeing you messed the order up and you kind of blamed it on the customer, you know, they might think, well, it might taste great, but if they won't help me when something goes bad, I might just go somewhere else. And so continuing that integrity that you had going, we feel like that's helped you a ton. And all five of these things kind of go together as one, and has made your company up until now successful, and continuing these values will continue that success down the line. Marketing. So we felt that it was essential for you guys to kind of find your target market. It's important to find your target market because you can begin crafting specific messages for that specific market. So if you're trying to target newlywed, soon-to-be weds with married or weddings coming up, you can build a marketing piece to target just them with slogans and riddles and things like that goes synonymous with weddings. Focusing on potential, understanding which market can bring us the most, and not only most, but the consistent business that we need to not only thrive but grow, and reaching the right audiences. You don't want to advertise your cakes full of sugar to a group full of diabetics. It probably won't go over well. And so you want to find that audience that'll not make your job terribly hard, but also give you that consistent business that will be not only needed but wanted, and also could translate into more business down the line with other people. So, Facebook and social media advertising. Facebook is free, especially when you get the support of your customers. You have the potential to reach thousands of customers. So if you do a like and share, a like this or share this ad once a month, I know I personally have 1,200 Facebook friends. And so if my one share can reach potentially up to 1,200 people. And so out of those 1,200 people, 700 of them live within 30 miles of your establishment. And so if they might never even heard of your company. But if they say, oh, free, yes. And they might get, oh, I've never heard of this, let me go try it. And now that person has their own set of 900 friends who just saw it after they shared. And this is all free. You know, people pay millions of dollars to be in a Super Bowl to get their product in front of millions. I'm not saying you're going to get up to that big of a scale, but what I'm saying is you have the potential to reach thousands just by utilizing Facebook effectively, which you haven't been doing a bad job, but as we all know, there's no such thing as perfection, and we can always improve. Educate customers on products. So you might have a new product you're rolling out. A lot of customers might not know about it because they don't come in the store often. So you can say, hey, we have these new flavor of scones, or we have this new flavor of cannoli, limited time only. It has this, 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 and this in it. In this day and age, people are really focusing on their diets and what's in their food. And so if you can explain not only what it is, but what's in it and why it's not, so they don't feel as guilty for cheating their diet when they walk in. The utilization of hashtags. Hashtags have blown up recently. And I know personally, in my own business ventures, I use hashtags to find potential customers for my business. So if you hashtag Butterfly Baker, hashtag Lincoln Cakes, hashtag Lincoln Desserts, hashtag Decadent Delights. The Lincoln Cakes especially, if I'm somebody who I don't know where to go to get a cake made, I'm just thinking I need a cake. Oh, hashtag Lincoln Cakes. Let's see the cake owners or the cake makers in the area in Lincoln, because I need one in Lincoln. You know that, and even if it only brings you 3 more customers, that's 3 more customers that you didn't have before, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. Wholesale recruiting. This was personally my biggest recommendation for you guys. So to be effective in wholesale recruiting, you're going to identify 5 potential types of businesses. So the grocery industry, the fitness industry, the coffee shop industry. You're going to identify 5 of those. And after you identify 5 of those, identify at the minimum 5 of your best prospects in those areas. So if you're going grocery, it's Hy-Vee, a Super Saver. If you're going coffee shops, you got your neighborhood Starbucks, your neighborhood coffee shops, and things like that, and break that down. And then the next step would be to reach out and follow up. So when you reach out, it's not more so come buy cakes from us. It's how you doing? Do you have a need for some of the things that we have to offer? And start that conversation and build that relationship. And once you build that relationship, then you follow up with, hey, how about you come? We're closed on Mondays. We have no customers. Come down to our establishment. You can see where all of your products will be made, and we'll have a tasting day. We'll invite 12 business owners. You can come taste our products, and that's good for everybody involved, because as you know, business owners converse with other business owners, and so they have a chance to make connections for their various businesses while also potentially gaining you new customers in your wholesale market. And so with that wholesale market, the reason this wholesaling part is so vital to your business is that this is consistent, sustainable income over X amount of months, depending on what the contract is signed. So no matter what, you cannot have a personal order all week, but per the contract, these guys are going to order these amount of scones, these amount of cannolis, and so I'm going to make this amount of fixed income over the life of this contract. And that sustainable money is what will help you not only reach your goal of, I think it was $300,000, but help you grow into a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 company. Another idea that was thrown on when we discussed this was the elementary school night. This is a two-way street. This is a two-way win for you guys. Because not only are you supporting the local schools and children, you're also introducing your product to probably your favorite customers. You know, kids love cake. Kids love anything not vegetables. And so you're getting those guys ahead. And also you're giving back to the community that you're serving. Because X amount of percent of what you make will go back to the schools so they get to buy more books, more curriculums, computers, whatever they need. They're not getting that extra money. And so what I would say is strategically designate a day and a time. So it had to be based on your orders you already have, as reasonably so, but also times that would fit for the working parent and the student who probably has to go get picked up out of daycare or etc. And so you guys would have to sit down and converse about that and find what works best for you, and then talk to the school and get it clear to the school what works best for them. But if you could do this, parents always complain about the school not having enough money, things like this, and so this could potentially bring you more customers as well. And I would have brochures and propaganda handy during this time as well, because some of these parents are business owners, and a lot of these parents have to plan these elaborate birthday parties for their 6 and 7-year-olds. So why not have it be one of your cakes that they call and get ordered? The farmers market. We talked about this. So you could sell extra small delicacies, so things that don't need to be refrigerated, and you know those products better than we would. And this is a great networking opportunity. You run into various types of people at the farmers market, and a lot of people are selling things. So if I'm walking through, I just ate in the Haymarket, and dessert sounds good. Oh, are those cannolis? I don't know anybody else selling these. Let me get a dozen. Well, and you talk to them, what do you do for a living? Oh, you're in sales. You work for this company. Do you guys do breakfast? Do you hold meetings? You start those conversations. And so I would also say have those wholesale and personal products brochures handy as well. Because worst case scenario, they don't order anything. But if they know about you planted a seed, that when the need arises, it will mature into potentially another customer, and that's another mouth that can speak about your company. Because once they try those scones and cannolis, they're going to be blown away. I would say be proactive in procuring customers here. So be proactive in reaching out and not just standing there looking like this waiting. How you doing, sir? Can we talk to you for a minute? Or just be proactive in getting people over to come talk to you, because it all starts with a conversation. Charitable giving. We said you should start working with charitable organizations, because this will assist with marketing and giving back to the community. So if you designate a month, so in October, and you make a lot of breast cancer themed cakes, so cakes with pink borders, cakes with the ribbon on it, in memory of so-and-so, cakes, and you say you're going to donate 20% to the local breast cancer chapter. Or you make cakes with puzzle pieces, and you call up the Kids and Dreams Foundation and say, we'll make these cakes, and a portion of it go to autism. And when at the end of the month, when that money's tallied up, you present that check, get the pictures, get Lincoln Jonas Star involved. That'll be a good look for your company, and it's also getting your product in front of a lot of people. And at worst, you just donated 25% of your earnings for that month to an outstanding cause. Utilizing Scott Frost. Everybody knows Scott Frost is Nebraska's baby. He's back, he can't do any wrong. So use that to your advantage. You make pastries that have frosting. So establish a brand name around Frost. So football season's coming up. Have Nebraska red frosting, and I'm not as creative as some people in the room, but you kind of get the idea. Utilize that love of Nebraska football to your advantage, and send a box of product to the Nebraska staff with a good luck. I know I'm a college football coach at Concordia, and we love free anything. If the wives break us cookies or a mom sends us cupcakes, that's a good luck and thank you for coaching us, sons. We eat that up. And so if you have these coaches, you have to probably tell them beforehand for security measures, but tell them, hey, we're going to send you a box of cookies, we're going to send you a box, we're going to send you an assortment. And now they're eating like, wow, where are these from? So now you've introduced your product to a lot of people, a couple people with a lot of pull in the state. Call the radio station and give the product to the anchors. If these guys, if you can't go to the game, people are going to listen to it on the radio. That's one thing I've learned about being in Nebraska is no matter where they're at, that game is getting watched, heard, or read in the newspaper. But they're going to do whatever they can. So these guys are talking to a lot of your customers already. So if you send them a box like, hey guys, try this out, tell us what you think. If you think it's really good, let's talk about a promo on the radio. And that's the end of my segment.
Thanks, Ron. Comments, questions, insights? There's more detail in your document.
Do you, should we ask questions now?
Yeah.
All right. These are all really good ideas, and this is helpful. It's really helpful to kind of get some of your perspective on what would be good. Do you have any perspective on the time or money investment for any of them, all of them, and kind of the expected return? So, for example, if I could only do one of these, what would be the biggest bang for my buck? Or is there kind of a, you know what, I think that you will get about this much kind of percent back for every hour, every dollar that you would invest in this particular avenue of, I mean, I'd like to do them all. And over time, we probably can do them all.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to hit the ground running. You know, after tonight, if tomorrow Katie jumps into the store and she's like, all right, this is the one thing that's just going to, you know, really be big bang for our buck, what could she hit the ground running with, and what could we expect in terms of, you know, well, we don't want to invest too much of anything, you know, we don't want to go too crazy, but if we think one of these, so lowest risk, biggest return for the, you know, least amount of investment. And that's what investors are always looking for within a business.
Let me start. I don't think any of these are going to require much financial investment other than the product and your time. I don't see that there's anything here that is going to require much more than that. I think every one of them at some point would be a good return on the time and the investment of the time. But as far as prioritizing, which is what I think you were asking, which one would you do first? Any comments here? Nick?
I personally, maybe partially because you and I kind of thought of it, but I like the idea of kind of going off the Nebraska football thing.
Yeah.
And kind of how it stemmed was because I go to the same, we've been in the same tailgate spot for 13 years where we park at, we walk by, can't remember what the restaurant's called, but we walk by this Lead Bellies, and right around there, they're always having 93.7 as their every game day. Every morning I walk by and see the host, and I listen to their show, you know, every day. So that's kind of where that thought, and kind of the thing that we came up with, said, hey, if you call the radio station, we're going to be in the area, Fort Butterfly Bakery, want to stop by and drop off cupcakes or whatever. And you get that live feed of not only you can hear them on the radio, but they can also, you're being heard all throughout the Haymarket, everyone that is listening visits to them. So to me, that would be a great jumping off point, especially because football season is like 2.5, 3 weeks away. So I just think with all the hype and everything, it's just kind of playing into you guys' hands really well.
The other thing, first thing I would do is contact Rousseau. Aren't they right up the block from it? And see what their schedule is for the year and what you do and what you can provide, and work with the I was an elementary principal and superintendent, so the PTAs, president of that, because they're the ones who do fundraising and sponsor. I'd get that information. And the one thing I remember as a principal and as a parent, during these night celebrations or activities, I'm not sure what they celebrate anymore because it's changed so much. But they always had a cakewalk. They always had a cakewalk, and they raffle these tickets off of the cakewalk. So as far as the elementary school night, I'd start with one, and then I'd go to the next one that's within your geographical area. Then I'd go to the next one within your geographical area.
Yeah.
And like he said, these people your parents are professionals, they have businesses of their own, and it's just a matter of taking the time to go introduce yourself and what it is you do and what you'd like to provide for them.
So what I hear you guys saying is all of these are going to be great ideas. You're going to get a return for any of them. In terms of prioritization, you have some good anecdotal evidence and personal experience why you may like one or the other more or less. But in terms of like a hard, this is going to be kind of what you need to do prioritize-wise, not necessarily saying that about anything.
And I'll tell you why. It's not like, because what the thing with these, like with the charitable giving or the elementary school night, it's not like buying a spot on Fox.
Right.
And it's saying, I'm guaranteeing you to be put in
This
prime
many
time, you're in front of 3
people.
million
Yeah.
people and working those numbers. Because the thing with the charitable giving is that could go either way. That's with anything, that it could go either way. And so it's a matter of, and it's also a matter of how well, not to sound like, it's about how well you market it, and
Right.
how much of that of the concrete pounding you're willing to do to get it in front of the people it needs to get in front of.
Yeah.
Because personally, what I would say, and no offense to you, Joe, I know you're the sensei master, but I would
Thank
say
you for that compliment.
I would say prioritize the charitable giving and couple it with the Nebraska thing and make it one during October. Because we all know the players wear the pink and everything. So if you can make a pink Nebraska cake or pink Nebraska
Yeah.
cupcakes in honor of Breast Cancer Month, National Breast Cancer Month, and Nebraska's football season and make them one, I personally think that the combination of two things, you will see dividends. And that's something that gives you about 2.5 months to plan for, to prep for, so it gives you time to prepare. And it's also something that you can start making those phone calls now and getting your marketing pieces together and ready to go for that. Because because it's psychology. People love to think that if I wanted a cake anyway, and some of it's going to breast cancer, I could say that's my God-given 10% tile, and you get to that level. And so personally, that's why I would say start with this. And the elementary school thing is going to be great. All of this stuff, we tried to make it as low cost for you as possible.
Yeah, and cost-wise, we don't mind investing hard cash. What's a challenge for us at this point is hard time. I mean, it's if Katie does this,
Yeah.
she can't be doing cakes or pastry or other things.
Right.
But this is going to give her more cakes and pastry and other things business to do, and then maybe we can bring on more people.
But we're going to address some of that with
Yeah,
the
that
additional
sounds good.
staff that we're recommending.
These ideas are excellent, and we've discussed them over the course of your
Here's what
I
I'd
really
recommend.
do appreciate them. They're really good.
I'd get with your team
Yeah.
and say what
What do you guys? see
which
as
ones of
priorities?
these can you get your mind and arms around first and make work. But I still think that this wholesale marketing is a market that you have the potential to own in this city. And Nick, you're going to talk more on that, aren't you? With the business development person and right, and point of sales and
Can I make a comment?
yeah.
that's Lauren.
Yeah, that's Lauren.
Oh, that's Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah, operation.
My fault.
So I don't want to pretend I have expertise because they've been doing all the work, but I will share with you that one of our most recent past clients has really focused on charitable giving specifically in the Lincoln area and has exponentially increased her social media following specifically.
Oh, yeah.
And her sales growth to do that. She says she's almost doubled her
Yeah.
sales in 1 year due to just the charitable
Yeah.
giving tag because people pull in other people that you wouldn't naturally just have in your
Yeah.
500 followers. They're gonna pull very specific and very intentional people. And, yeah, so she's she's more of a direct marketer, which you're seeing with, you know, lots of different things going on, everything from, you know, Javita to whatever, ellipsis, people taking selfies. And you have a more genuine product than that because you're not just another face doing the same thing as all of those people who are selling the same thing. But you are doing a mode of direct marketing, which isn't necessarily the terminology that they're using, but a lot of these specific ideas that they're giving you are very easily categorized into those, and you should use the power of that because that model works.
Yeah.
And so, even though that's not what they're specifically using as the words for that, I think with what you already have set up with your Instagrams and other social media, you don't have to add a ton to it, but just really be intentional and focused on what audience am I pulling in with this picture. Like, you know, you talked about selling that one cake that you want to get off the shelf and still make your return on investment. That's really great, but if you could do some of these specific ideas, charitable, whatever's passionate to you, I like Joel's idea, bring your team. You don't want to do something that's random, do something that's passionate for your team. Then you'll see some growth. Plus, it's a tax write-off. So, you know, that person's seeing double sales, double people following, but then they're seeing a huge ability to benefit the cost of their bottom line too. So they're seeing the return in double capacity, you know. Like,
This,
they'll write it off in.
the client she's talking about, we did, what, two terms ago? Lauren, was it a couple terms ago? Yeah. And she wrote a wonderful testimonial for us. And in that testimonial, she talked about the growth. It just exploded. Exploded. Why? Because she is focused every day on primarily Facebook. But she uses social media exclusively.
And we gotta be careful what we say because we're on recording, so.
Oh, my God. All right.
Great, no, that's great, and also the whole hashtag thing, I don't think that was on any, that's not on my radar, and I don't think we
Oh,
don't hashtag anything.
you've got a hashtag.
That in and of itself could be a huge
Yep.
asset
Yep.
to our current marketing stuff that we do, so. Thanks, guys. Is it okay that I ask questions and kinda
Yeah.
grill and, okay.
Yeah, we got technology up
All
next.
right, cool. Thank you very much, Ron.
Ron, you have to hit back?
Yes, sir.
Okay, stay in touch.
Absolutely.
All right.
Can I speak to you for like 2 seconds out there?
Yeah.
Can we go on ahead?
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much.
Shannon,
Yes.
can we go on ahead?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
I just need some run.
Okay, yes, I was also going to address Law and Answer. I had a very hectic day and had like 10 seconds to change before I got here.
We want real, just, come as you are, so that's good.
I don't know what it
You know,
So, with technology, honestly, there wasn't a ton for technology-wise, but one thing that I noticed was you guys have a lot of paper notes all over, and I'm the same way in my office. My office is covered in paper notes, but I'm only concerned about myself and what I'm doing, so if I need something, I don't ever need someone ever going to my office, and when I have, it's impossible for them to find anything. But typically that doesn't happen, but obviously with you, sometimes you have other people that are going to be looking at these things. So, we had thought some sort of point of sale system, and I know that we had briefly touched on that in week 1, and we talked about that, and there is, sounds like some pushback on just making sure it's as user-friendly as possible. Give it a couple weeks, people I think would love this. So the point of sale system I have here obviously saves time, keeps the paper organized. The calendar combining capabilities is kind of the big deal. And one thing that I had thought, we had all thought, and was having a scheduling system on your website. Now after talking to you a little bit more about that, it is kind of like, it's like getting a tattoo or something like that is how I think I referenced it. You're not just going to tell them, hey, I want whatever you're going to get, and everything's just blanket, simple across the board. But there is going to be circumstances where people are going to want something like that, whether it's just an office party or whatever the circumstance may be. So we thought circumstantial, you would still have an ordering something online, but then you'd have a schedule that would then link through this point of sale system, and it is allowed, the one that I actually recommend on here, does do that. It links from a website to your actual point of sale system in your store where you guys are actually keeping your schedule as well. The system that I recommend, I actually in this, I have a contact person that I've spoke to about it, and she's not gonna lie, she might be expecting a phone call. If you don't use it, that's fine. But I called quite a few places, and this one seemed to be the most user-friendly. This one is based off a salon and spa. That's what it's geared towards, which after talking to her more and more, that's why we thought it worked so well for a bakery, because they also have people that are doing scheduling online, or they want, but there's different things they're doing. A haircut may only take 20 minutes, so they're scheduling a block for a half hour out on the website without even calling the company or the salon. But they may want a perm or highlights or whatever people do still. And so that's going to take like an hour or 2 hours, or I've had a perm before when I was little, so I know how long it takes. My mom made me do it. And the price of this, $69 a month over the course of 3 years with a 3-year contract, which was roughly $2,500. And like I said, I just think it would help keep things organized, and it would also gear towards, because I think there is some people that would rather order online and maybe don't want to go into a store to talk to someone, because I think a lot of people are fearful of going into a store because a lot of us have that used car mentality of they don't want to go look at a car and then be hounded by 15 different people about buying something today. And I'm not saying you guys do that, but that's just some people's mentality in their head of why they don't like going places. So if they can order it online, go in, pick it up, they just prefer it that way. So like I said, and I do have, like I said, I have a contact person in here, and like I said, if it's something that you guys do feel, I encourage call her and talk to her. And even if you do not think it fits, but you do kind of like the idea of a point of sale system, there's tons of them out there. But this is just the one that off of all the ones that I saw. The equipment comes in. There's no, there's no rental fee for that. You just pay the monthly cost for this. And printer supplies, so ink and paper and stuff like that are free as well. It just is kind of included with that $69 a month. Facebook, obviously we kind of pretty much already touched on that. You guys are utilizing it really well. Other than the like and share, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly contests, something like that. Not a whole lot else you can do with Facebook. So, it creates buzz, and like he was saying, you get me, I have like 600 friends. They may have 1,000 friends, just so on and so forth. It just trickle down effect. The big thing, Instagram. I've never really used Instagram because no one cares what I have to say. I don't have anything interesting to put on Instagram. No one really cares about my pictures. People would care about yours. And the cool thing about Instagram that I did not know, it's kind of like the social media hub. So you can have Twitter, you can have Facebook, which are all great things to have. But if you have Instagram, that's where the hashtags come into play. So you can hashtag certain things, and depending on how you hashtag them, let's say you have one link that's a hashtag of it's just hashtag Butterfly Bakery or Lincoln Butterfly Bakery. Once you put that up on Instagram, it'll automatically link it to Facebook. It can automatically link it to Twitter if you have a Twitter account. And it started to make more sense the more research I did when I would see things on Facebook that my friends would post saying, so-and-so posted this picture on Instagram, then the hashtag shares it automatically to Facebook. So you kind of be killing a couple birds with one stone by using that. Plus on Instagram, you can see who's following you. I mean, on Facebook, you can see who's friends with you and who's liking you, but it seems like a lot of work. Instagram, it's a little bit easier to see who's following you, so you can see who's kind of paying attention. It's a cooler thing. Facebook's not that cool anymore. It's just not, like, it is for us, for me at least. I'm 33 years old, so I still use it, but like people like my cousin, he's 18, deleted his Facebook account because he hadn't been on it in 6 years. That's not your target audience. However, your target audience is buying stuff for them. So I guess in a way it is kind of your target audience. But yeah, like I said, in Facebook, unfortunately, it's kind of, it's finding its way out of being cool, and Instagram's what is cool now. So it's just kind of staying up with the trends, and I'm sure that I'm probably a little behind the times. I'm sure in a month there's going to be something else like Instagram. So, but like I said, as far as technology goes, I mean, you're a bakery, so it's kind of hard to, other than the pictures and stuff, it's kind of hard to, you know, think of anything else that you guys could utilize other than these kind of key things. But the point of sale system was kind of probably the more important thing that I thought, just to keep everyone organized. And it would be a good thing, so say you guys are sick, something you just can't get in the store and you're just curious how the store's going. I know you guys get busy and you can't answer the phone, so you're just like, what do they have on the schedule for the day? I just kind of want to keep track. I'm not saying it's a way to babysit, but it's a way for you guys to maybe feel a little bit more at ease, because you could get online, kind of check to see what's on the calendar, and you don't have to bother anyone in the store while they're working either. So,
Good point.
so yeah.
Point. You be questions, comments, or?
Yep, I specific questions about the POS you recommend, Nick. It's Harbor Touch.
Yeah.
Harbor Touch. So what's the name of the POS? Is it called Harbor Touch POS, or is it called, or do you know?
It was just Harbor Touch. It was just their.
I didn't know if that was a company that kind of contracts out POS systems, and then I'm assuming this is like a merchant account, so it's a credit card processing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, there's well, if we need some more info, it looks like Megan is our.
Megan Kuiper is the contact person there, and actually, and also the link on there. You can go to that link, and there's different videos that do show some of the different things that they have. It was kind of one of those things where, as she's explaining it to me, I'm like, I don't know this very well enough to. I'm not gonna be an expert on this to explain it. So
Yeah.
I definitely thought it was something that I could just kind of hit the highlights and
Yes.
just
I
contact.
and we don't have to kind of grill you here now, but I'd be curious to hear all the POS systems that you kind of explored and took a look at. Because when we selected our current POS, we did a lot of comparing. So it'd be interesting if you compared similar ones or different ones, or ones for different industries. I didn't look at the spa and beauty product POS, but I mean, that's a good point that they have, you know, time, calendar, appointment sorts of orientation.
The ones that I had looked at, they just seemed generic, like they were all the same. Like they were there was nothing bad about them, but there wasn't anything special about them. When I told, because like I said, I called quite a few and told them what I was looking for. And when I told this Megan person I was looking for, she's like, okay, salon and spa. I don't even know if she called it a package, but she said salon and spa is what you would want. And because of that, being able to link up calendars, and that was kind of the big thing there. And it just sounds like that would help with you guys a lot as well. Because a lot of these places, when I called them, they said, well, we don't really do that where we can link up any sort of scheduling calendar from a website to your POS system. So that is why I chose this, and she was by far the most informative about it. She sent me a ton of information on it, which most of that's included in here. Some of it wasn't a necessity. So
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you for the contact and for the recommendation. Do you guys have any questions? POS or concerns if we move that direction?
No, I think that you're right, like the ones that are like base or whatever. The only other thing is like the grub like really making grub
I mean, yeah, like if you just want like a happy birthday deck.
Right, so like having something that like they would kind of do and you know, just like these 4 specific items.
Right.
Get online order quickly. There's no questions about it. It's not like, I mean, it's art, but it's not like art, you know, it's just.
Right. I
This
mean,
is a picture, this is what you're gonna get. Kind of like a classy Walmart, you know, because the inside's better, the outside's better.
Right, yeah,
But there's no question, there's no variables to it.
Yeah, so we've talked about just adding a web checkout feature. So our website would be completely POS to check out items, to order cakes, and to put them on a calendar. And I think what you're saying is this would be a system where whether you scan it in the store or they order it on the website, they would connect so that the calendar is synced.
yes.
Whereas currently, I know that we can get our website kind of go in that direction, and I know that we can get, we actually selected our current POS because we thought it worked that direction, and then we actually got in there and used it and tried to do it that direction. It turned out it didn't have that functionality in the way that the POS originators thought it did. But Yeah, and the Grubhub's a good example of maybe like a kind of a, for us, a good stepping stone that direction, because we'll start to have some online and potential to kind of see our products come out the door that way.
Well, like you
But
said
that
too.
link is a good,
And I use tattoos because it just seems like you have a clover on your ankle. Clovers are,
A giant cupcake on my leg.
well, on the,
Better, that's a cover-up.
see, I saw you had a clover, or a four-leaf clover on the other one. I was sitting there and I thought, you can call up any tattoo shop to say, I need a clover, I'm gonna be in at 8. I have an Irish claw on my back. You can call up anyone and they can look at it, but then, you know, and that's even another thing, is if people have that and they look at it and they thought, well, and you put a disclaimer underneath there saying specialty designs or something, need consultation or something like that. So even if someone has even a slight question, they come in and then that gives you a chance to possibly, I hate this phrase, but to upsell them. I hate using that phrase because it just sounds very used car sales-ish, but it's kind of true. So they come in, it's like, well, you want a clover? Well, why don't we do this instead? Like, so,
Call that on marketing.
yeah. I mean, you limit it to what they can order online to the most basic, simplified things. So if that is something that they want, they just want a happy birthday, Nick, great, that's what they get. But if they want something a little more specific, at least they know that they have the option to come in and talk to whoever's available.
yeah. Appreciate the recommendation.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mindy and Katie, if my memory serves me correctly, we do a lot of the day-to-day scheduling and ordering. Do you see where this could, if you got it into a system, be more efficient?
Face-to-face with customers, they do so much with pencil and pen and paper
Yeah.
that I don't think it would be useful. But, kind of like Katie had that idea of, you know, these 4 templates.
Yeah,
This is what you ordered, this is what
Start
you
with
did.
start with what
Might
you
be
I would
would work.
honestly classify it as like wholesaling. It honestly would go into like the bread and butter
Oh.
type of the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Here's another, just a quick one, we call them
Okay.
short cakes. And so just, you know, and also, that's also what we do when we get to like almost max capacity for the week. We'll say simple, festive, elegant is the only 3 words you get to describe your cake.
Oh,
And,
nice.
like, you know.
Keep it more simple, more specific.
Because we're
yeah.
done with London for the week,
Yeah.
we don't have time to do it. So,
Yep.
that would make sense.
Okay. Operations, Lauren?
Operations. So, yeah, thumbs picture off Google.
Yeah.
So I guess operations is defined as jobs or tasks consisting of one or more elements or subtasks performed typically in one location. So basically, operations is just how your store works. So we're going to start off with some facility recommendations. This is going to be done in probably the next 1 to 3 years, depending on your revenue, what you want for your new location, leases, and all that sort of thing. So you operate at one location currently. We're suggesting that you move a little further south or to the, I guess, southeast side of town. We looked up 3 locations that could potentially be really good. Our top location, I think personally, is where the old Chevys used to be on 56 and Highway 2. It's got great view from all streets going around. You can see it. It's got 7,000 square feet, so there's a lot of room. So you can do dine-in and then have also an established kitchen already in there, so maybe a little less for the remodel. And yeah, so also the biggest thing is just being realistic with what you can afford for your new rent. Try not to totally outdo what you can afford and be out within a year and not being able to afford it anymore. Okay, so your employees, you currently have your 3 full-time and 3 part-time employees. For your recommendation, you want to hire 2 to 3 more. We recommended a business development employee. This person would be part-time, and they can work on an hourly rate with maybe a percentage of the business that they gain for you for a wholesale account or charities or wherever else they gain your business. Yeah, so do that, and then on a day like Wednesday, when like your business is a bit slower, they can dedicate like their 4 hours a day to just go visit businesses around just to make connections and potentially more customers. Also for your part-time employees, you wanted 1 to 2 more pastry chefs, decorators, and then 1 more customer service employee, which I think you could tie into the business development employee, just have that be 1. And then one thing we recommend is interns, unpaid people to come in and help with whatever you need. So partnering up with the new culinary program at SCC and just saying, hey, we'll take someone for a semester, and it could be for business, it could be for culinary, it could be for whatever you want to focus on to make it a little better, just for free, basically. Yeah. So for your daily operations, you say your case keeps are fresh for 2 to 3 days, and you're currently turning away 20% of the business. So basically what you're hoping to gain from your new walk-in cooler is longer freshness for your cakes, and to be able to hold more cakes to be able to turn away less business. So for efficiency, we just kind of recommended that you just invest in energy efficient equipment. It's just going to save you money in the long run, and then again, it'll keep your cakes fresher longer. We want to encourage that you communicate openly with your employees if they see something or they are aware of something that you might not know, or because they're in the business every day working, so they can tell you what they might see and then work together to fix whatever problem there is. Also, just keeping the store efficient is important, but don't let it cloud your progress. So don't sacrifice something you want just to make it more efficient. If it's something works better the way it is now, keep it that way if it's not going to work out. So for capacity, we just want to really make sure you keep in mind reality versus planning. You can hope to gain 15 more fridges in there, but your reality is maybe 2 to 3 more fridges. So we want to make sure you keep your financial records as transparent as possible. I think Nick did a great job really helping break it down for you. So yeah, you must invest in some refrigerators. So we noticed that the 2 fridges you had in there were not, one of them wasn't originally made for cakes, so get rid of it, get a new one, hopefully in the future, maybe the next 6 months to a year. And those cost about $3,000. I found one website that held one. Seems like you already did some work on your front showcases. And then the last thing would be just that wall that's dividing your front area and your back area. We recommend that you just take it down altogether if you can have the ability to do that. Yeah. Last one, farmer's market again. This is just a little more detail about it. So it's May to October. They have 3 in Lincoln. There's one in the Haymarket, one out here in Fallbrook, and one by the Old Cheney area. But Haymarket has the most volume, so that's the one we recommend. It's about $600 per season to just have a booth there. And then it's just potential marketing for products, and just usually about 1 to 2 people to be there each week to market and sell your items. I think that's it.
Yes.
What was your specific thought behind taking down that wall
Yes.
between the front and the kitchen?
It's kind of a group thought, just to have more, it'll make it seem more open, and that maybe give you a little more room in that front area if you're not planning to move soon, so just open it up a little bit more. That's basically the thought.
Things can get pretty wild behind that wall. One of our concerns would be exposing our customers to the craziness that happens back there. Could that be of a concern, or was that considered as well?
Well, if you really don't have that much dine-in, it wouldn't be that big of a concern, but if you do want to keep that up to block that part out, that's probably a good idea as well.
There are some businesses that they attract as many customers who come to, what is it,
Well, isn't it the kitchen with like the glass screen and?
Oh, yeah, like, you know how like in the grocery stores, there's glass right here?
Yeah.
I mean, we used to put a sign on the outside that says, "Don't feed the decorators," because we thought it was funny. But, like, honestly, like I'm sweating thinking about taking that wall down, because when I have to fix somebody's cake, I don't want them to watch me do surgery on it. It is terrifying. Like, I can do it, but don't watch me.
There's like, you can see like an OR curtain that you can pull, like, you're gonna have surgery. Yeah.
You know, and it is true, you know, if it was like a pizza shop, you throw a piece of pizza dough in the air, it's fun to
Yeah.
watch, it's
Yeah.
the same technique, it's the same dough.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with artists, like Jess and Katie, there's this artistic, mystique to what they do that I think they appreciate having some closure there. The idea of taking it down just to open it up, I do like that. We used to have a bunch of boards up there that closed it off even more, and taking those down just even gave them light, which was probably nice to have daylight back there. So it's an interesting recommendation. Oh, and then the other question I had is, you know, you guys recommended moving, and when we were talking with you guys, just to clarify, that is abandoning the current location and moving to another location, rather than opening up a separate
Yeah.
location.
But I think it'd be better just do it all in one. Have your dining in and your just baking. It's a lot easier than transporting between places and just dealing with two separate locations.
Yeah.
For now, maybe in 10 years or however long, two
Plus you
locations
have
would be.
more control over it. You already know how, it's just more space,
Do
different location.
is there any research on the amount of customers you gain or lose when changing locations? Because we still have customers who will come in today and they will say, I used to use you guys all the time when you were on West O, and I finally figured out where you were. And we've been there for 4 years. So we still get customers that'll say that. So we're really close to the country club neighborhoods, and again, just up the street on Highway 2, if you were where Chevy's used to be, that's not far away. But would we expect, and that might gain us more customers, because East Lincoln has grown, Southeast Lincoln has grown a ton. Do you have any idea of what the risks are of moving to our current clientele? I can tell you anecdotal evidence that makes me concerned with the risk, but I don't have any numbers, I don't have any research, I don't know.
I don't either.
I think there was one thing in there, but I'm not sure how in depth. It's not super in depth, but there's an article in there that describes how to successfully move a small business. So if you want to look at that article, that
Yeah.
explains
I
it.
thought you included that.
I think there's a couple articles in there.
I do know that my grandma and aunt mom who've all gotten texts from you guys and love your texts. And the one thing that they, when I told them about this was they all three said, God, I wish they'd move. I can't stand the parking.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's a small area. And they said, yeah, sometimes it's hard to get in and out. That doesn't deny them from coming there, but so obviously that doesn't hinder you a ton. But then I just wonder what if it does.
Yeah. What if that's set, if there's 100 of them out there saying that,
Right.
200, 300?
Do you have any thoughts about that?
See, one of the things I would recommend is that you get together as your team and go through this document again and review the details of it. And then just let each person share what they think, give their insight as to what they believe you're capable of doing, realistically could do. I think you just build, you create an empowerment, and they get more invested in the process. And some of these recommendations are just that. It's not set in stone that you have to do them, but maybe you could do it in a modified form.
Yeah, and my questioning of them is not in any way reflecting like, well, that's not a good idea, or well, that won't work, or well, that's good. These are all good ideas. I think they all could work. Just trying to get a little bit more information and kind of spread it out. As soon as you mentioned the moving, and we've thought and looked at some locations, but we hadn't looked at the location with Chevy's, and Mindy leaned over to me and goes, it's next to the party store, which is
Super
really good.
Saver.
Right next to Super Saver.
It's
For our ingredient, so there's a lot of details that we'll go through that we'll as a team we'll be able to pull more stuff out of it.
absolutely.
But I just wanted to see if there's any, and so it's helpful that there's kind of an article reference. We'll dig through and find that and see what we can learn from that too. So,
Thank you.
hold on, real quick one.
Yeah.
Was there any, also, when you're looking at the, Chevy's, or what it's called, location, was there anything that would be, pros or cons cons against being next to a grocery store. Like cake wise, like that's some fierce competition as far as like, I know it's completely different markets, but like, that, and then I know right across the street is Cupcakes and More. So like, is that a situation where you recommend, because like a Walgreens CVS situation where it's just gonna bring more people there? Or is it a situation where that might get a little dicey because you have two competitors within, 100 feet of you?
Been walking this.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, how would you, like, is that a pro or a con? I don't even know how to look at it.
I mean, it's probably not a pro or a con, it's more over just what is right for you. So you are completely different than the cupcake place, because you have completely different products, you offer a lot more, and then for Super Saver, you offer more quality. So it's just establishing yourselves as different rather than, we're just another cupcake place coming in. So just as long as you establish yourself as different than what's already there, it shouldn't be a problem.
You're right, clustering, clustering is what they call that,
Yeah.
right? And that's, I agree with Lauren, is you guys are totally different to Super Saver. If I want to buy a cheap cake, I'm going to Super Saver regardless of whether you're there or not. So what difference does it make? Right? And you don't know is someone might walk over to Super Saver and they're like, I didn't like that cake, or I don't like what they're doing, and then they'll come over and see you. So it's just one of those. I don't think that it's a.
I think if you're going to buy shoes and you walk up and there's a finish line with tons of shoes, and next door there's a Nike store. Do you want Nike shoes? I'm going to go to the Nike store. And I'm driving by, someone sees a cake, and I'm like, oh shit, there's a bakery right there? I didn't know that. And then they go in there, it's like, oh yeah, because these people, I would never think to go to Super Saver for a cake. That's good to me, but.
We are close to Russ's, and they have cakes and cupcakes and stuff. So we do have some sense of what that's like. But it is a little different when you're like in their parking lot versus a block away.
I think you look at it as a competitive advantage, right? You walk out there, you're giving free samples away of your stuff, and people are like, "Wow, this is way better. I had a cookie from Super Saver last week and it sucked."
Yeah.
And you got to look at it that way. So there's no, and Lauren said it. There's no pro or con. It's just about however you want to flip the script.
Do you feel like your audience is planned purchasers, like they intend, or rather, I mean, Super Saver is more habitual shopping. So I feel
Saver is,
like,
I forgot to buy a cake, I
Right.
would get one on the way to the party.
right, exactly. So, I mean, I feel like your audience mindset is different, and that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, next one.
If you took a snapshot of your Facebook photos and you put that beside the snapshots of Super Saver's bagels and donuts and cakes, which one do you think would win out in terms of?
So Super Saver does all right. If you go up to Super Saver, what do they have right next to a cart of all their groceries? A cart with Hy-Vee,
Yeah,
showing you what the cost is.
yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying I'm not saying stoop to that. I'm just. I think even when I saw it, I was like, that's one way of doing things. Because I'm still going to go to Hy-Vee, but yeah, there's.
Yeah. And
People
you're
already
just
gonna know.
so far
People already know the difference.
beyond in terms of uniqueness, quality.
Yeah, different product.
Oh, absolutely.
And people probably go to Super Saver because they don't want to drive to Butterfly Bakery, right? You know what I mean? So it's one of those where,
They don't want to deal with the parking.
yeah. And you won't have to deal with parking at the Chevy's location, that's for sure. That would be great.
Yeah. Finish this up with the financials.
I'll
Nick.
do my best.
Very well.
All right. So I had the financial section of the business plan. So if you have any questions, obviously we can finish after. But what I did is I did a little bit of projecting, which is as you guys know, Justin, especially when you're dealing with financials, it's all unknowns, and you can make the best of what you have. So what I looked at is how you performed in 2017, and I took into account that was a little bit of an up and down year for you. And then I looked at what you did in the first half of 18, and then I try to project that out, basically in a simple average, for the rest of the year. Because your 2018 stuff was pretty consistent. Moving forward, and I don't know how you budget or how you want to budget, maybe like an exponential smoothing thing might be a bit better, because then you're weighting, sales from 5 years differently than sales from 1 year. So that might be a better way to go, but since we had limited financial data, I thought that was the best way to go. Basically, so what I have is our projected revenue growth of just over 11%. Total revenue, I projected at $301,000, and if you look at the budget, the 2019 budget that I put in place for you, we actually slaughtered that number by about $76,000, so I think we can get you guys up to about $376 in 2019, which is a pretty significant jump. That is based on some of the stuff that we've talked about, and I think this is a base number for us. So this is our baseline goal, but I think that we could get up to that level. Wholesale revenue projected to be down 40%. I think we all knew that one was coming, right? In some based on where we were at from the previous year. Store sales up about 23%. Delivery income up by about 89%. Obviously, that number looks awesome, but it's very small.
Yeah, the delivery income is $100. That means $189 next year.
So total expenses are projected to be down around 16%, based on the information that we have. So those are things to think about as you're looking at the rest of this year moving forward. And I talk to you, Justin, a lot, and indeed we email back and forth about what are our financial goals over the next 5 years. And these, I think, are the things that the suggestions that Ron, Lauren, and Nick and myself came up with, and Joel, that I think will really be beneficial. If you can implement some of them, all right, you should be able to reach these goals. And 2019 cash balance of $60,000, I think that's totally realistic. I think that is, well within your goal if you execute on the stuff in the business plan. 2021 cash balance of $100,000, definitely within reach. How that happens, we can talk about a little bit. And then revenue in excess of $500,000 by 2023. I think those are all really realistic goals, and you guys are tracking, especially in 2018. You're tracking so well. And the thing about growth, right, is the more you grow, the harder it is to grow. The more effort you've got to put into it, the more things you have to find to make sure that you're pulling every dollar you can from every source that you have. So just keep that in mind as we look forward. So this is what we did, and I gave us a baseline 5-year revenue target of 2018. You guys should just tick over the 101 or the 301,000 base revenue, and then 2019 339. I think these are realistic goals if you just do what you're doing now without doing anything in the business plan. You guys could probably tick over into this, maybe with a few of the non massive expenditure stuff. But it's really hard to know. It's really hard to project when we don't know which direction we're going as far as, what investments are you guys going to make. So these are all baseline, and you can see where we're at as far as, the dollar amount increase as we go up. And obviously this is total revenue, not net income. But if you look on the budget in the actual business plan, it shows you in 2019 where you guys can potentially, I think it was about $65,000 in net income in 2019 if you execute appropriately. So, and then some potential capital investment things, which some of you guys addressed this already. The new fridge, obviously, new display case, cooler, which Lauren talked about, farmers market, and then the business development associate. Those things are all. Those are the business development person, especially, is the speculate to accumulate position, and those are just the risks that you have to take in business, unfortunately. And sometimes I think and it's your money, and I know that I hate to spend money, my wife hates to spend money, and sometimes it's a matter of, mitigating risk more than creating opportunity, and I get that. So it's trying to find that right balance, and I think Nick came up with this idea, and I think it's a really good thing for that wholesale market, which I think is going to be your revenue driver, your fixed income driver. And I think you can increase that a ton by adding this position. So if I had one specific recommendation, I think getting someone to do this job in some capacity would be a great business advancement. So we talked a little bit about this, Justin. Financial success factors. It's really hard, okay, to know, because you can do a lot with accounting, and all that stuff. So just thinking about what we talked about, we had discussions in class about it. These should be what we're looking at when we're talking about success. Are you hitting your financial goals that you set forth, that you've budgeted? And we talked about year-over-year revenue growth, which we addressed in the business plan. So are you hitting those targets? Okay. Your profit and loss, your net income. Are you hitting your net income target? Whatever that is. I don't know if you guys have one. If you don't have one, then it's easy to establish one, right? You just pick an arbitrary number and be like, we're going to go here. And then I think, and this is one that we talked about, Justin, a lot about you feel like sometimes you have your living budget or week to week, budget to budget. Now, what we want to do is look at, did I hit my budget this week? Okay. Did I hit it last week? Did I hit it? So once I know I'm hitting it consistently, then I don't have to budget week to week, because that seems like a waste of everybody's time at that point. And then you can allow Katie and her staff to have a little bit more creativity with how they want to spend money, as long as there's reason to do so. So it's important about, and that's not, and none of that stuff is groundbreaking news to anybody, but it's just keeping it and be transparent with your employees about where you guys are at, as far as financials go, because everyone has a stake in it. And when you're more transparent with your financials, employees feel more involved in the success of the business. We talked about employee compensation. This is a big thing. We all want to get paid more. There's not a person in here that would take less, okay, to do the job. So when we talked about, and this goes towards hiring, whether it's hiring, for the actual the pastry side of it, or the business development specialist, trying to do a little bit of market research. And you guys don't have to be necessarily experts at this. You just have to do a little bit of research, but these are just a couple of factors that you need to take into account. The job and location, right? If you're doing a specific job, like Katie's job, that's going to be paid different to somebody that's just making cookies or whatever in Hy-Vee or anything like that. Location is a big factor as well. You don't get paid the same in Lincoln, Nebraska than you do in, Calabasas, California. Those are two different scales, and you have to understand where the revenue or where the salary ranges are within a region, and that could be city to city, right? You're not necessarily paying the same in Omaha as you would in Lincoln. Just understanding that, and that's easy to get your hands on. It just through some simple web searches and things like that. Be transparent about compensation strategies. I say this with a little bit of a warning. I would never recommend anybody to share their salary with anybody else, because I think that can create a little bit of friction if, this person makes more than me. But explaining how people get a bump in their salary is always a good thing, okay? And I've also talked about a lot at our work is we do, they call them merit-based increases, but basically it's, Katie should have an idea about what she can expect in a raise. What that looks like based on if you hit your financial goals. And that's why, identifying your financial goals and making sure that everybody knows, hey, we're not tracking this year, so when the end of the year comes and no one gets a raise, everybody understands why that's the case. again, just be transparent with how the money is flowing in and out of the business is super important. Consider salary ranges. So Katie comes in as, I don't know, Baker 1, whatever that's called. And then we say, you have this earning potential, $35,000 to $45,000, right? And then we say, if you do a great job, you have the opportunity to move to the next level, which is, 45 to 55, depending on tenure, experience, quality of work, performance review kind of stuff. So those are things to keep in mind. The reason that is so people have an idea about where they're going, right? Instead of just saying, well, I'm here, I get my 1% raise every year, I have no idea what I'm doing, as far as the future goes. People like to see that growth. Now, and it's up to people to be able to get there as well. So if you give people a carrot, most of the time they'll reach for that. And then anticipate employee expectations about raises and bonuses. So, Christmas comes around and people are expecting a bonus or a raise because that's what you've done in the past, and you don't give one, people aren't going to be very happy. So that's why transparency is really important. This is one of my favorite things at work. Every quarter I get profit sharing, and these are basically a percentage of every dollar that you make goes into an account, and you get to share that with your employees at some point throughout the year. So they know, I bust my butt, I get rewarded. It has to be a benefit to everybody, and it rewards the proper behavior, really. And again, transparency is a big thing. Setting clear expectations for what that looks like. Okay, say profit sharing, sweet, and then everybody getting $20 at the end of it is probably not like a great outcome. So be open-minded about that, and you could make that a tenured thing as well if you wanted to. Like if you've been here for more than 2 years or 4 years or whatever, then you can start receiving profit sharing on top of that.
We currently do profit sharing. Anybody who's been working at the bakery 15 years or more, we
and then obviously explain how it works. So just set those rules out, and then you have to be careful in some profit sharing depending on what you want to do. And this leans more towards 401k programs or things like that. A lot of government regulations that you have to abide by and all that stuff. So depending on how you want to run any kind of, and 401ks count as profit sharing technically as well, by the way. And that's it. So. Yeah.
I want to say that all the clients we've served and the documents that we've created, these 4 independent business consultants really put their heart and soul into this. I think the financials, and that wasn't your first.
It was about my 8th choice, I think, of things to do.
Technology was like my 8th.
And Nick,
I really want.
It was pretty weird that the guy that works at a technology company got financials and the guy that works in construction got technology.
but they did it. They did it. They did it, and they made it work. But I think that the financials he laid out here for you, for someone it's not his area of expertise, it's as good at financials and as good at details as I've seen. So I just again want to compliment the students for their work and their effort, and thank you for it, because it took a lot of your time too. But we wanted to put a document together for you that